Multiple reports have Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders added to the Pro Bowl roster as a replacement. He's the first fifth-round rookie to make a Pro Bowl since Puka Nacua did so recently. Shedeur 3-4 record, 57% completion percentage, 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions on the year. Let's bring in our Emory Hunt to talk about what we're learning today. What's your reaction to hearing that Shedeur Sanders is a Pro Bowler?
It is shocking because I didn't know that they went this far down to find a replacement for the AFC side of things in terms of the Pro Bowl. But kudos to him for getting in there and putting on the show for 7 weeks. But this kind of highlights the entire 2025 draft class for the Cleveland Browns and what they were able to do. Andrew Berry did a magnificent job. You have Mason Graham, who made some all-rookie teams. You had Carson Schlesinger, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Harold Fenn, in my opinion, should have been involved in the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. You have Quinshad Judkins and what he was able to do rushing the football. Dylan Sampson gave you some good snaps, and when Shedeur Sanders got out there, they won 3 of the 7 games that he played in. And a lot of those games that they lost, they were in those games as well. So it shows you, and he got Dylan Gabriel, who proved to be capable as a solid QB2 for them down the line. So this entire draft class was outstanding for them. Shedeur Sanders getting to the Pro Bowl, that's the tip of the cap for him, but it's giving you a sign of what is potentially there to come for him based on how he played in those games, regardless of the stats, because we know the context in what he played. And I feel like when you look at him playing with a worse off roster than the other 2 guys that started the season for the Cleveland Browns, you have to say, wow, he did fairly well. So imagine what he can do with the full offseason.
Yeah, friendly reminder, folks, that Dylan Gabriel was a 3rd-round pick. Shedeur Sanders a 5th-round pick. To your point, they started the season with veteran Joe Flacco, who was traded mid-season to a division rival. As you take a look at the numbers, they're not going to be flattering, but rarely are rookie numbers ever that way, Emory. Remind us again, because you're one of the biggest Shedeur Sanders backers here, his college game, what he showed in his first year, and what's still to come for him moving forward.
Right, he was the highest pressured guy right there, but didn't take a lot of sacks that people were afraid he was going to take. And I've called him a Joe Burrow clone because of those same skill sets. We've seen Joe Burrow be able to take those sacks that you say, hey, man, just throw the ball away. We saw him do that, and we've seen Joe Burrow do that. What I love about Shedeur Sanders is the accuracy, placement, touch, timing, all of that going deeper down the field. And we saw that manifest itself out there on the field when he got into the ball games. And here's the thing. When you have a quarterback that gives you at least a chance to win, those games are going to be a lot closer than what people thought they were going to be, and we saw that down the stretch. The 7-game stretch that he got in, those first-team reps that he got for 7 weeks, showed you the potential, and it makes you think back to where he was in the preseason. Like, man, imagine if they gave him starter reps then and probably put him in there around week 4. Maybe we're talking about the Browns getting 9 wins or getting 10 wins and getting into the postseason. So the fact that the numbers are what they are, you have to add the context. He played with a worse-off offensive line, not the same receiving core. He lost Fannin in that Steelers game. So to say he did what he did with that roster alone and finished out with 2 straight wins in division, kudos to Shedeur Sanders.
Lastly, the coaching carousel, there's a lot of notable candidates, some of them removing themselves from the situation out there in Cleveland, just sort of looking forward to what potentially could be a match with Shedeur Sanders. Is there a name still out there you like? What do you just make of the whole situation as we sit here on Monday?
I sort of like Jim Schwartz being the guy because he's been in the building already. He knows what the pulse of the team is. He also knows what he has on that side of the ball, and the defense kind of resonates with Jim Schwartz, so you wouldn't have to worry about a change in voice on that side. Shieldhouse is the guy that everyone's talking about. I like that he's young, so he can relate to Shedeur Sanders in that role, and also understands offense and knows what a quarterback needs to be successful because he was a successful one at Illinois. So I do feel like Shieldhouse will be a good fit for them if they're able to keep Jim Schwartz. But if they go with Jim Schwartz as the head coach, I would be interested to see who he would bring in as his offensive coordinator because this offense isn't that far off. They need offensive line help. They need receivers. But I feel like they got their quarterback in tow already in Shedeur Sanders on a 5th-round contract. So you want to take advantage of that. You still have Deshaun Watson, who's going to be on the roster in part due to the contract. And we also have seen, to be honest, Tommy, quarterbacks that have gotten outside of the system that was Kevin Stefanski's system have played really well. So we don't know which Deshaun Watson we're going to see. So he could end up being the guy, but I like the quarterback room as it is right now. I like the team. Obviously, there's some places to add, offensive line, wide receiver core, but I feel like Shieldhouse and Swartz are the two finalists, and we may even see them work together.
Okay, that's Emery Hunt with the news that Shedeur Sanders is a...
We're on a Monday afternoon, Game Day Recap Championship edition. You'll notice our scores here look a little different. We went from like 100 scores on here to now just 2. The final 4 teams turned to 2. Over in the AFC, as you can see, points came at a premium there, but the youth prevails there. Drake May's touchdown was the difference as the Patriots beat the Broncos in just his second season behind center. Jarrett Stidham, thank you for playing, my friend. But that was just the appetizer. Over in the NFC, a main course for kings and queens, ladies and gentlemen. In the end, Sam Darnold stands strong. He's headed to the big game in Santa Clara. We're headed for a recap, so let's see if I remember how to do this. Desk looks a little different today. We're a little smaller. But just because we're smaller, this is 2026, people. We are living in technological times. So I got Pete Prisco, Rand Carthon here on set. We've also got our boy Damien somewhere out in the void. Yesterday we showed some dogs trying to bring him here to South Florida.
Did he make it?
Safe to say the dogs did not achieve the assignment there. Damien is still stuck in the frozen tundra, but he does join us this afternoon virtually from his home. As he does always. Damien, if you're there, hello. Welcome to Game Day Recap virtually. There he is with the CBS Sports.
What's up? Hey, them damn dogs couldn't listen to no commands, man. They couldn't get me on my driveway.
You need to get them in order there, Dame. How were you yesterday? We missed you.
It was good, you know. I mean, obviously, I wish I could be there with you guys, but listen, I'm not gonna complain about getting stuck in the house with my wife and kids. We had some great football on yesterday. I was able to cook, get in the kitchen. So, I mean, it was an all-around great day. But again, I wish I was in sunny South Florida with you guys, but y'all know we're gonna have a hell of a show regardless.
We are gonna have a hell of a show. Technology not keeping us apart. We had 2 very different, but still very, I guess, telling games yesterday. Before we dive into the highlights, Pete, real quick, your thoughts. Never mind, we're jumping right into the highlights here. We'll get your thoughts in a minute. We are going to the AFC Championship game on CBS. It's a rematch of 2015, that AFC Championship. No Brady or Manning in this one, guys. It was May and Stidham. Of course, we remember Bo Nix got hurt. So Broncos quarterback, the backup there, Jarrett Stidham, did not have a great day at a turnover that led to this touchdown. Drake May running it in to tie the game at 7. Slow day of offense. They had 4 straight punts before that Drake May score. So defensive battle. Broncos get the ball back. Just 3 minutes left. A chance to take the lead, but there he is. Jarrett Stidham runs into Christian Gonzalez, who gets the interception. That was his second turnover of the game. The Patriots looking to pull away here, just under 2 to go. May fakes the handoff. Used his legs a lot yesterday, doing something Brady never did, boys and girls. He won a playoff game in Denver. Patriots get 10 points. It's all they need to win, 10-7 to advance to the Super Bowl for the first time since 2018. They're also the first team to reach the Super Bowl after 13 straight losses in previous seasons. There you see the longest Super Bowl odds by a team to reach the Super Bowl. The Patriots entered this season at 80-1. They are now one of 2 of the final teams standing. In the second half of the day in the NFC, Rams and Seahawks, divisional rivals, meeting for the 3rd time this season. The previous 2 decided by 2 points per team. That puts the Seahawks up 31-20. Former Ram, former Super Bowl MVP, Ken the current won on Malcolm Butler's interception on the goal line with 26 seconds to go. We brought you this full screen a couple weeks ago on Game Day Recap. The Pope and his divine intervention when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks. Every year we've gotten a new Pope. We've gotten the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. And that still holds true here in 2026. Man, I love what our research team, that's crazy, right? I love what our research team is able to find out there. All right, guys, obviously we've got our Super Bowl match set. That's how we got there. We'll break this down as we go. Pete, now let's get our first thoughts here. What do you think about the Super Bowl match that we have on deck? Seahawks, Patriots.
Well, I think Seattle's really, really dominant. I mean, look, if Sam Darnold plays the way he played on Sunday, they're going to be hard to beat. And I think they go into the game as the favorite for a reason. I think they're the better team. New England goes in having scored, I think, 54 points in their 3 playoff games, which is the lowest of any team that's made it to the Super Bowl on a 3-game run. So they're not playing that well on offense. Sunday was a little different. because of the conditions, and we'll get to that too because I can't stand that crap, by the way. But I think Seattle's the better football team.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great matchup, a defensive matchup for everything that we've talked about with the Seattle Seahawks and their dominant defense. The New England Patriots defense has been just as dominant and have answered the bell every single week for them. So for me, I think this is going to be a really good defensive matchup, and it's going to come down to Josh McDaniels and Clint Kubiak, which guy can make the necessary adjustment at the right time to get their group over the hump. You mentioned it, Haley, talking through the highlights. Drake May used his legs. That was an adjustment that they made at halftime because that pass rush wasn't necessarily getting there, particularly off the edge and then the interior, but there were creases because they were getting off track. And so he was able to use his legs. That was a great adjustment, and that's what this Super Bowl is going to come down to.
Dame?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of these guys. I mean, I think Seattle has proven they are the best team in the National Football League. But in the same breath that I mentioned that, this is kind of the same narrative that New England has been up against all season long. They went out in free agency. They got guys like Stephon Diggs, Milton Williams. People still say, well, this roster is just not good enough. This isn't a playoff team. Well, once the season started happening and they started playing football, we saw just how good this Drake May-led offense was. Then we started to say, okay, this is a playoff team, but they're a year away. They don't have it. They don't have the it factor. They don't have the veteran leadership in that locker room. Well, here they are in the Super Bowl. So as much as I want to say, yes, the Seahawks are the better team, the Patriots have just consistently found a way to get better and win the games and beat the teams that are in front of them. Sometimes it's Drake May and his legs. Sometimes it's him airing it out to Kayshon Boutte. Sometimes it's the run game and the running backs, Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. We've seen what those guys can do, not just in the run game, but in the pass game as well. And then to Rand's point, this defense has really taken offense to the fact that in all these matchups against the Texans, against the Chargers, against the Broncos, it's been about the other team's defense. Well, they've showed up with physicality, with sound technique football. We saw it yesterday in the elements even. It's hard for defensive players to get their footing. It's hard for them to fill gaps. And in that type of weather, they still played situationally great football and executed in the times when they needed to. So, yeah, Seattle's a good team, but the Patriots, they've got a lot of confidence going into this game for good reason.
We got 2 weeks to count down to that big game. We're going to get into all the angles and the storylines of that one. I will leave that conversation with this. The coaches and the quarterbacks in this matchup, both, all of them in their first or second year with their respective organizations. So we talk about parity this year in 2025. That has really been the story. If we talk about the teams that didn't win, we'll start with the Rams here.